Dancing in September. Minnesota Vikings fans did a lot of dancing in September. There really never was a football-related cloudy day. And September of 2024, September, indeed, was something to remember. Nordo, the master mixer of the Monday Montage, with terrific work per usual. And I'm Paul Allen. This is 9 to noon, and it's 9:05 at FM 100.3 KFAN. From the 651 Carpets Plus studios, it's becoming happenstance. Undefeated. The Vikings are undefeated, and they plan to stay that way this week. And because to be undefeated, you got to get 1. Giants, you got to get 2. Niners, you got to get 3. Texans, you got to get 4. Rivals to the east, which all leads to 4 in a row, 4 KO, 4 in a row, 4 KO, 4 in a row, 4 B flow, 4 in a row, 4 B flow, 4 in a row, 4 Sir Poe, 4 in a row, 4 Sir Poe. Now, being racetrack raised, popping the gate and opening a big lead is always sweet. But sometimes the beast becomes fatigued and tired and is gasping for air at the wire. And while that may be the perception of the race run yesterday at Lambeau Field Downs, being racetrack raised, we know. 9 to noon has a racetrack raised side to it. And being racetrack raised, we know. It doesn't matter how you get to the winner's circle, as long as you get there, and we all are getting our pictures taken. Picture taken. They come surging on the outside. Such a perfect win by the Minnesota Vikings for coaches. 4-0. You beat a division rival. You mostly had things under control. Then some facets went pear-shaped, which means the coaches get to point out L's and keep the gang on point. 4 in a row, 4 B flow, 4 in a row, 4 B flow. I mean, it was all over the place, but I think you know what I'm talking about here, even if you're not racetrack raised. I mean, there's plenty at which to look into this A-Rod game. But nevertheless, you stayed undefeated. And against A-Rod, you plan to stay that way this weekend. Such a perfect win for supporters of the Skull. It was them. It was there. And your family members from east of the river, you know, Ethel, Bertha, Wilbur, and Farmer John, well, they lost bragging rights for at least this part of the season. Oh, by the way, 2 in a row at Lambeau. 2 in a row at Lambeau. 2 in a row at Lambeau. Hey, Farmer John, though, they lost bragging rights for at least this part of the season. So now they drown themselves in old Milwaukee and shut down Kroll's West, lamenting the loss and hearkening to days gone by, reminding us of our trophy case, which is empty.
Oh my gosh.
Have at it, cheeseheads. It's elevator music, and London is calling. Much to love, much to discuss, too. But Byron Murphy Jr., that might be my favorite part of Border Battle 128, a 2-point Minnesota Vikings win. I mean, Addison had needed reasons to smile. He got them. He scored twice. All Jefferson does is make unbelievable catches. Darnold, top of the heap in the National Football League with several key statistics. You're up 4 touchdowns in a hot tick at Lambeau Field, which ain't easy to do. So there's a lot. Oh, and the kicker never misses. The kicker's unbelievable. All right, 3-2. But Byron Murphy Jr., I mean, they went to picking on my man a majority of the second half. And I feel comfortable saying that because when I ran into Byron Murphy Jr. in the locker room yesterday after the game, and he had a big old smile on his face, that's how I put it to him, is they went to picking on him. There was a moment where he and Josh Metellus got lost, and like they exchanged thought in very mature fashion. But despite all of the situations that were taking place with Byron Murphy Jr. and the Minnesota Vikings defense, specifically that Murphy-Metellus moment, where it was a long hit to Dontavian Wicks. And you know what? As an aside, simply because when somebody goes out of body and does something they've never done, I just got a couple of covenant claps there for Dontavian Wicks having like the best professional day of his career. I don't know Dontavian, don't care about Dontavian, but I mean, Dontavian, damn. I mean, my man was playing, Dontavian Wicks was playing like a cross between Donald Driver and James Jones, but we digress. But see, after picking on number 7 for a little bit, well, then your quarterback, your old quarterback Jordan Love got a little greedy and lofted up one of those crap back foot heaves, and lo and behold, it was Byron on the spot with the pick. Then lo and behold, it was Byron Murphy Jr. who punched the ball away from Wicks for a turnover. Was that Wicks from whom he punched it away?
It was Tucker Kraft on the fumble.
All right, 3-2. Then lo and behold, it was Byron Murphy Jr. who punched the ball away from Tucker Kraft for a turnover, and everything green and gold was nearly flushed down the toilet. So much from this bad boy. And before hitting the locker room, 30 minutes before the game, really, really cool moment. Aaron Jones, I mean, the team had gone through its pregame steps and the prep and everything. And, you know, Aaron Jones was just like trying to run back to the locker room and get ready to beat his former team. But he ran around half of Lambeau Field because they were applauding so loudly for him. That was touching for him. Smart fan base. Did the same thing for Brett Favre when he ran out of the tunnel. Ryan Longwell and Sage Rosenfels by his side. But copyright Harold Melvin in the Blue Notes. Aaron Jones, truly, he's the love they lost. One of several things that was eye-opening for yours truly yesterday is you let one of the most popular players in the last 20, 30, 40 years of Packers football leave. You replace him with the beefeater from the Las Vegas Raiders. Now you got him cutting carries with something called Emmanuel Wilson.
Oh, my God.
Can't believe that was the plan, but it is the plan. Sam Darnold wins his Lambeau Field debut. You will hear Sam talk about that a little later. One of the drive-bys that we accomplished in the locker room yesterday included Minnesota Vikings quarterback Sam Darnold, who made his Lambeau Field debut. And Lambeau Field's Football Americana is my favorite stadium that I have the privilege of going to yearly to call games. And when you debut at Football Americana, man, it's just a cool situation. Sam was touched by the moment. Jefferson scores every game. Jordan Addison was back in a big way. And Patrick Jones got a sack on his 26th birthday. My man celebrating his 26th birthday, and I think we had one sack in the game, and it went to the birthday boy. Just like we all predicted after 4, right? Patrick Jones would lead the team in sacks, and Camus, Grugier, Hill lead the team in interceptions.
I always love that one.
Prognosticating ain't easy, and there's a reason, and that's like reason 777 why it's difficult putting dem opinions out there on the line. Speaking of Justin Jefferson, I ran into him in the locker room after the game. I had the microphone, and he had the thought. And I started with like, hey, you love playing with Sam Darnold, don't you?
Yeah, I do, man. Sam's a great quarterback. He's a great leader, and he's leading our team to victory. So, yeah, he's definitely doing a great job.
Justin, it kind of had a feel at the end there. I mean, you scored a touchdown, and it was kind of sporadic with the ball was getting spread around. He hit 8 different guys. But then it was like, all right, here we go. It's late in the game. Let's find him. And he found you for like 43, 45 on that. Did you feel that way?
Oh, yeah. I mean, just, it's going to happen. Defense try to take you out the game as much as they can. And, the plays are going to come. The game is a long game. It's a hour game, 60-minute long game. So, you just got to wait your turn, be patient. Of course, we got other targets and other guys that's able to make plays and do something on his team. So, you can't get frustrated if the ball's not coming to you. You just got to wait your turn. Whenever that ball do come to you, make the most of it.
How about this? Justin Jefferson, the receiver. Justin Jefferson, the touchdown scorer. We've seen Justin Jefferson throw. We've seen Justin Jefferson run for a touchdown at Tottenham Hotspur, where we are next game. How about Justin Jefferson, the blocker, on Jordan Addison's touchdown run? And then there was another one late. I can't remember the play, but it was key. And that, I mean, I'm not saying it hasn't mattered to you during your career, but it really stuck out today.
Oh, for sure. I just wanted to get after. I knew that they was going to try to take me out the game a little bit, and just the run game. We always preach, just getting those blocking touchdowns, and of course I got a blocking touchdown on J.A.'s touchdown. So it's just doing what I need to do. Of course, setting up the plays for my teammates.
Lastly, the offensive line and just the way it worked over the course of the game. I mean, those defensive tackles, Kenny Clark really caught fire at the end of the game. T.J. Slaton, granted he's in and out, big people get tired. Devontae Wyatt behind him, but they were formidable. Gary and Smith. I mean, your offensive line really gave you a really good effort today.
Oh, for sure, and it's difficult, especially we're going up against these top tier defensive linemen. We're going up against guys that it's difficult to go up against. So it's just kudos to them for locking in and executing the plays that we need, and just that it starts up front, just taking care of the ball and blocking for Sam or AJ to get down the field and make something happen. That's big for us.
My man, you're fantastic. Can you guarantee a rushing touchdown at Tottenham Hotspur? I mean, that's all you do is run for touchdowns in London.
I don't know if I can guarantee a rushing one, but hopefully I can get a passing one.
All right, man. Appreciate you.
Much love. Appreciate you, Paul.
Yes, sir. Justin Jefferson, I love you too. I appreciate you too. I'm gonna try to find Jordan Addison here. I just saw him, and hey, congratulations. All righty. All right. Well, we're not going to be interviewing people in the bathroom, so that'll be that. Should I have followed him in?
I think you made the right play
and caught him. I mean, ain't nobody catching anybody midstream. But I could have caught him in the entryway, and he had 2 touchdowns. So was discretion the better part of valor there?
I think just letting a man urinate, I think that's the good way to go about it.
More drive-bys. Josh Oliver scored a touchdown yesterday, the first for Josh in 2024. But there also was this sneaky little screen they threw to Josh Oliver. The analyst Pete Bursich absolutely loved it because they weren't looking for it, and it worked, and that's what Kevin O'Connell does. And we started talking about that sneaky little screen.
Yeah, it was cool. I got an op, just tried to take advantage of it, and was able to make myself available in pass game.
Josh, what do you think of your role on this team? I mean, it's a team that complements each other offensively, defensively, and special teams. Shoot, the kicker never misses. But your build as a blocking tight end doesn't mean you can't catch. And you know what? I'm going to go back to that Cleveland joint practice. I think it was day 2, and you're going against Cleveland's first defense, and Sam threw you a kind of an alley-oop back center of the end zone, 40-inch vertical. You brought it down so you can catch. But with your role, define your role.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, we got so many weapons. I just try to get in where I fit in and do as much as I can, and whenever the opportunity comes my way, make the most of it. It's awesome to be part of this team because anybody that gets the ball can do a lot of good things with it.
Lastly, whether it's offense, defense, special teams, O'Connell's leadership, Flores, Daniels, whomever, what do you like about this team? Like quick twitch, because you're a veteran. Like, what do you like about this individual team that a lot of people are saying, it's different. This just feels different.
Yeah, it's a great organization. I mean, our leadership top down. I think we got some great players in the locker room, and it's just fun to be a part of. I mean, you go in the tight end room, and we're all best buds and stuff. We're all friends, and it's just a joy to be a part of.
And you know what? I don't want to leave without talking about your coach, Brian Angelico, because like I learned last year, or maybe 2 years ago, 2022, just how much of a savant, how good he is putting things together with the rest of the staff in the red zone. Brian, he's a really smart guy, isn't he?
Oh yeah, Ange knows his stuff. He's a great coach, and we're happy to have him.
Congratulations.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Josh Oliver, tight end for the Minnesota Vikings, following a 2-point victory over the Green Bay Packers. Your Minnesota Vikings improved to 4-0, heading to London. Oh, my heavens. Somebody has to be chill right now, and I'm going to say it's Christian Darrisaw. I walked over here and tripped over like 9 bags. I'm about ready to sit on some scissors because I can't leave these little drive-bys just without crediting you for the work you've done this year. And, hey, is anybody perfect? No, there was one perfect in the history of the world, and I think we know who that was. But, I mean, this is, granted, they're transitioning to a 4-3, seeing 52 and 91 hand in the grass. It's different. It's early in the season. But you still got to play them, and they're tough. So great job today. What did you think of the win?
Oh man, I feel like we came out, executed as a team. There was a part of the game when I felt like we kind of let our foot off the gas a little bit. But as them boys started coming back on the other side, man, we stuck together as a team, all 3 units, man. And it took every bit of it just to pull out the W, and we got it done. So it feels great.
And Christian, human nature at times gets to win too. So you're like, took the foot off the gas, or whatever happens in situations like that. But like when you feel it happening, how do you combat it?
Man, you just we know what we're here for. We're here to stack W's, get these wins, man. And no matter how the game flows, we know there's going to be adversity at some point. Everything isn't going to be perfect. And like you said, no one's perfect, so bad things are going to happen. Now it's how we're going to bounce back after we get hit in the face a little bit. And we stick together as a team, like I said earlier, man. And it's fun getting W's like that. And keep this thing going.
The common thread that we've just heard from players, coaches, people calling games on radio and TV, when they like interview you guys is, I can't exactly put my finger on it because it's so early, but it's different. This just like feels different. This one, you had to sustain some haymakers coming at you at the end, and that goes into different, playing in tightly contested games and showing tenacity and fortitude and winning. How would you describe like this team's just different? Like, what's that mean to you?
Man, it's just all about everyone from no matter who you are, just buying in just to the process. And it's been a long off season. Knowing that we didn't get really the results last year, I hate to talk about last year because this is like you said, a special and different team, man. And it's just from day one. Everyone's just buying in and just the little things, little details, and just executing, man. And it goes out there and we show it on the field. And we got some corrections to make for sure after coming off this one, man. But it's fun being 4-0. We just got to keep this thing moving.
You're fantastic. Thank you very much.
No doubt. All love.
Christian Darrisaw, I'm going to run over here and chat with the bookender for a second, if you don't mind. Brian O'Neill. Just a couple of quick questions here because big people get tired. And, we got a bus to take to the airport and everything. Congratulations on the victory, first and foremost. But what excites you more? Winning at Lambeau Field and improving to 4-0, or your high school basketball teammate, Dante DiVincenzo, high school, right?
Yes.
Yeah, getting traded to the Minnesota Timberwolves.
I mean, I think 4-0, he's tough to beat, getting a win at Lambeau, but really excited to have him up here. I think it's a great trade for the Timberwolves. Minnesota fans are going to love him. He's a great player, works his tail off, and it'll be cool to get together with him again. I was texting with him and his family the other night.
Sweet. I'm not going to turn this into Wolves fan line, but is he excited to come here?
Hell yeah.
Good. You going to get him tickets to games?
If he gets me tickets to his games, I'm sure there'll be some back and forth for sure.
I just chatted with a Christian, and man, I mean, you guys, the bookenders, the offensive line as a whole, just doing such a good job. Obviously nobody's perfect in the game of football, but it's what I've noticed when I watch them back. Not that the games have been super close, but today wasn't. I haven't watched it back. Is in big moments, big third downs. All right, I'm tired. Take that big deep breath. You guys make the right play at the right time. Do you sense that?
Yeah, for sure. I think that's been a theme throughout the first 4 weeks is big drives, big plays. When they need to be made, we've been able to make them so far. Would have loved to get that 3rd and short and 4th and short down on the goal line to really ice them out. But when you're doing it more times than not, I think, coming into the game, we were 3rd in the league on 3rd downs, which, 3rd downs are a huge deal in this league. And that's a credit to everybody. Receivers getting open, Sam, having a ton of poise in the pocket, delivering darts, and the guys up front. So, yeah, it's been good so far. We got to keep it rolling, though.
Brian, last one. And Christian and I just chatted about this, where he's like, took the foot off the gas. And I said, well, human nature gets to win too, occasionally. And it's how you combat it and you fight it and push through it. But like when things started to get, I guess, a little dicey, how do you respond to that? Like if you're talking to Chris Cooper or you're talking to your fellow teammates, like when things start to get a little dicey, how do you handle that?
We just talk about going out and scoring points. We had already done it 4 times. A couple times we're good field position from timely turnovers from our defense early in the game, but we knew when we didn't self-inflict that we had been able to move the ball really at a really high level this game, and there wasn't many of them that could stop us. It was a lot of us stopping us. So just going in with the confidence that we had already driven the ball down 4 times and scored touchdowns. Let's go get points. And we were able to do that on that. I don't know if we were able to do that on the last drive, but we got a field goal at some point, and then the last drive we took a couple minutes off the clock. So it helps having those situations, that crunch time, clutch time drive that you got to have early in the season, because hopefully we can bank them and use them later on.
All right, and I don't believe in jinxes, but I don't want the kicker to hear this. Okay, so I'm gonna play the whole no-hitter game and stuff like that, because he hasn't missed all year. Have you chatted with Will Reichard? He's phenomenal, and he's just so quiet and so confident. It's cool having him around.
Yeah, it's great. He's been great since the day he got here. I've talked to him. Yeah, I talked to him. I've been trying to get words out of him for a couple months now. I talked to everybody, so I've been trying to get him. But from the day he got here, just been cool, calm, and collected. There was one day in training camp, he must have hit 8 of 8, and I went up to him and I was like, "Dude, great job today." And he was like, "My last 2 were pretty bad," and he still made them.
That's great. All right, DiVincenzo from 3. Good. And thank your mom and dad for me for listening to the games as much as they do from, is it Delaware or Pennsylvania?
Delaware. They call in every week.
Out Delaware. I know they listen to the KFAN Vikings Radio Network. That's really cool. I appreciate them and you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian O'Neill.
The game is over.
Christian Darasaw, Josh Oliver, and Justin Jefferson. A drive-by with Sam Darnold will be played in the final hour of the show as we replay the montage at that time, too. And courtesy of TimberTech and TimberTech.com.
#Faith Radio.
What's on deck 9 to noon includes Dane Moore with the Dane Moore podcast at Dane Moore NBA via Twitter. They traded Cat under the cover of darkness over the weekend. And it caused shockwaves throughout Howl Nation. Dane Moore's an elite basketball mind. He'll be on the radio show around the corner. And once again, that Dane Moore podcast, listen to that. You'll find that is quite good. The 1A topic around here from over the weekend, indeed, is Karl Anthony Towns being traded to the New York Knicks for tough guy Julius Randle, 3-and-D guy Dante DiVincenzo, and a Pistons protected first. And we'll get into that, plus the analyst joining us at 10 o'clock. And it's a Monday, which means Parker Fox will join us at 11. And that will be preceded by P.J. Fleck, coach of the Gophers, making his weekly stop into the Love Covenant, a radio show produced by Eric Nordquist, and I'm Paul Allen. Happy Monday, ladies and gentlemen. The Minnesota Vikings are undefeated, and against A-Raj, they plan to stay that way this weekend.
#Faith Radio.
And we have cash to give away again, and here it is.
Yeah, thank goodness for that. The Fan and 2 Men in a Truck want to give you a chance to put $1,000 in your hand with the National Cash Contest. Go to KFAN.com, enter the keyword Bills. You might win $1,000 with the keyword Bills at KFAN.com.
The 1A topic, 9 to noon today, would be, over the weekend, the Minnesota Timberwolves traded Karl Anthony Towns to the New York Knicks for tough guy Julius Randle, 3-and-D guy Dante DiVincenzo, and a Pistons protected first. And when we think basketball, one of the first people we think about is one of my favorites, Dane Moore, at Dane Moore NBA via Twitter. And there you will find the Dane Moore podcast, which is quite good. Good catching up for you. Thanks for making time here, Dane. How are things?
Things are good, PA, man. It's, we run about a month behind you guys in the football world, and it kind of all starts for us today with Media Day. But first Media Day I've ever done in 8 years of doing this without Karl Anthony Towns. It's going to be different.
Right, and 9 to noon will be will be at the facility on Wednesday, starting the show with Chris Finch. So we're looking forward to that with training camp beginning and stuff like that. John Hollinger, very well respected of The Athletic, wrote this about the swap. So it's a big story, but this part of it. Somehow, Minnesota's front office artfully handled the trade, handled it with two pieces that really fit, and made the cap situation more tenable. All right, 3-2. Minnesota's front office artfully handled it with two pieces that really fit and made the cap situation more tenable. Are you in lockstep with that take?
I am, definitely. I mean, I think it is two quality pieces. As you said before, we could get into them individually as players of why I think they fit here, but that they were able to find an off-ramp from the Karl Anthony Towns contract at a positive asset value, I think is an important thing to remember when we kind of like strip down the emotion and fandom of this. And if you are somebody like John Hollinger or somebody else like parachuting in and just looking at this, it was a massive Towns contract and you got a positive asset return from it. And it would have been dangerous. It would have been dangerous to go in these next 4 years with Cat at that number. What if he gets hurt? You really, they at least mitigated some of that financial risk by doing this. And so I am in lockstep with that.
And the Towns contract, I'm glad you said that, because it goes 49, 53, 57 million over the next 3 years, then a player option for 61 million, 27 and 28. And with Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo, correct me if I'm wrong here, but like those two deals, that they don't even add up to what Karl Anthony Towns was set to make next year, right?
Yep, they don't. Nope. Julius is at 28 and DiVincenzo is at 12. And Cat was about to make 50 this year. So that's a step down in immediate, like, just luxury tax burden for ownership this season. They save money there, but they also get a financial flexibility going forward that's going to allow them to re-sign Naz Reid while staying underneath the second apron. It'll give them an opportunity to maybe bring back Nickeil Alexander-Walker. It might give them an opportunity to give Rudy Gobert a contract extension. Like, those things were not going to be possibilities with Cat at that number. Julius has a player option for next season, so he could basically be on an expiring contract right now, and then that money is just, his $30 million is even just completely gone, and the Wolves can then reinvest that money back into the roster that they currently have and are going to have to pay at some point.
Now off that, Dane, at Dane Moore NBA, he recently posted a spreadsheet and kind of explained over the next what would be 5 years with contractual stuff and flexibility down the road. You
sound like a really cool guy there, PA.
Well, I mean, I've been looking at it for the last 7 minutes, trying to figure out who's in, who's out. Joe Ingles only makes $2 million. He's super cool, and just overall. Like if you could paint that spreadsheet with a broad brush of positivity from a Wolves standpoint, like what you mentioned Naz Reid, but like Rudy Gobert as a player option after 2025, 2026. Just overall, what type of financial situation are they in, say, over the next 2 or 3 years?
Yeah, I mean, I think just if you look at their financial situation in the vacuum of right now, you would go, well, that's still pretty bloated, not like great, they have a lot of money committed to, Ant and Rudy make a ton of money. Jaden makes a ton of money too. And Randall does at the moment. So you wouldn't look at it and be like, this is a perfect financial situation they're in going forward into Ant's prime. But PA is a hell of a lot better than it was 48 hours ago. And if you want to play that like the John Hollingers do and the real front office executives do, they look at those spreadsheets, and when they have daunting things for a couple of years into the future, man, that's when they make changes. And that's just what happened here. The spreadsheets look bad. That's what it looked like to them. If Karl Anthony Towns was on the books here too. And so they got out of it at a time when they could.
Now, for those who listen to Chris Finch on 9 to Noon, and he's probably said it publicly to Dane and the rest of the gang, but when Chris was together with Julius Randle in New Orleans, he was a fan. He was quite a fan of Julius Randle's and his overall game. For those who haven't followed the former Kentucky Wildcats career, what's your take on Julius Randle?
Yeah, man. I mean, if I'm being honest with you, I don't know yet. It's always the interesting thing, right? I'm sure you feel this with the Vikings, right? When there's this player who's played for another team and you think you kind of know about their game, but then you're like, wait, I actually don't watch you play every single night. So I've just had that experience with other players where I have a perception of what they are coming in, and then it kind of evolves with time. So I don't know where I'm at with Julius. I'm kind of concerned that he's coming off of an injury to his shoulder. I'm kind of concerned about his ability to kind of be a heavy isolation player next to Ant and how Finch is going to be able to figure that out. I'm kind of concerned Julius can't shoot like Cat could shoot. He's definitely a step down, but I'm wondering, maybe if Finch is like Finchy and whatever offensive brilliance can make this work, because there's for sure talent there in Julius Randle, and he's a dog. This team kind of needs that, I think.
What did they get in Dante DiVincenzo?
Shooter, dude. Capital S shooter, and he just bombs them. Remember, Beasley would? He's just like Malik Beasley more recently, where it's just he catches it and it's a 0.5 second mentality. I'm getting this up if I can right away. You're going to actually, DiVincenzo shot more threes last season per game than Cat did, and shot the same percentage. The Wolves aren't going to really lose 3-point shooting in this. Obviously, Cat was so unique as a shooter to his position, but Cat shoots 5 threes a game. It's not that many, you didn't have DiVincenzo having games where he shoots 8, 9, 10 a game, and make 4 or 5 of those. You're going to feel it more than Cat, who would rarely ever shoot that many threes. And then with DiVincenzo, you get a defender too, and he's a dog too. Finch is gonna love Dante DiVincenzo. It's got all the Kyle Anderson stuff that he loved about Kyle. He's going to love in DiVincenzo.
So from a defensive standpoint, with DiVincenzo, McDaniels, Edwards' defense is really good, and of course Stifle Tower, Rudy Gobert. This is an absolute uptick defensively when those four are on the court, right?
Man, that sounds like a team that can guard Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic in the playoffs.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah, that's a great. I like that.
They didn't have that last year. They were too thin. They were too light. And Mike Conley is a good, smart player, but he kind of physically got punked in that Dallas series because they needed to put him on the ball. This is another way to slide Mike Conley into a little bit more of a protected state, just overall to do all the great Mike Conley things without overextending him. DiVincenzo isn't just a backup point guard, but it's another thing that they give to that whole guard group that is, that's going to be the face of this team here pretty soon. Cat's gone. The face of this team is that guard wing group of Ant and Jaden and DiVincenzo and Nikhil Alexander-Walker. That's the next era. Rob Dillingham, we're coming at you. We're going fast. I think that starts now, with DiVincenzo.
For those who didn't see Dillingham in Summer League, what do you know about him as a backup point, maybe the third point of DiVincenzo, does some ball handling when Conley's not in the game? Like Dillingham, what should fans expect into the season?
I think the stylistically, right, and we always, when we do comparisons, we do really high-end comparisons. So my comparison for his game would be Trae Young. But it's going to be in a small role, and it's going to be off the bench, and we're going to have to see if his passing is as good as Trae's. We're going to have to see if his 3-point shooting translates. But that's a fun player, right? It's going to be quick. He's going to be fast. He's going to be a threat to shoot. And if you come out on him, he's going to get to the middle of the floor, hit a floater, throw the lob to Rudy. It's going to be fun. And it's probably going to be a little bit of a problem on the defensive side of the floor because he's tiny, and particularly when he's 19 years old, which is actually. What better team to come into and be a Trae Young mold? All offense, no defense. Minnesota Timberwolves, who are a bad offensive team last year and the best defensive team in the league. I think to that end, the fit is perfect. We just got to see if he's ready at 19 years old.
Would you, with a right to change the opinion when we start tapping on you again in like 3.5 weeks, would you expect Julius Randle to start or Naz Reid? Because Naz is now the minutes for Reid obviously are going to increase and maybe dramatically. And maybe it doesn't even really matter who starts, but like Julius Randle, it just feels like he's a starter.
Yeah, no, I'm with that too, and I haven't, in the conversations I've had about this trade with people from the organization, that hasn't come up, and I've been kind of surprised to see, like, in the discourse that it isn't even is a thought that he would come off the bench.
Right.
I mean, I think we just know that Finch is comfortable with Naz Reid coming off the bench in that role. Like, even once Cat got hurt at the end of last season, remember, like, Kyle Anderson started, like, the first 4 or 5 games, and then eventually it's like, okay, now Naz, like, moved into, he likes him in that 6-man role. And also, like, again, I don't know Julius, but, like, it's probably a good idea to cater to this player at the beginning, and make him feel like he's an important part of it, because he is, right? Like, you bring him in here after he, like, made All-NBA 2 years ago and be like, actually, you're coming off the bench. Like, I don't think that's I don't know. That doesn't sound like a great note to start that on. So I'm totally, in my mind, operating under the assumption that it'll be Randle starting at the 4.
Terrific work, my man. Thank you very much for the drive-by time. We greatly appreciate it, and I'm sure I'll see you soon, okay?
Yeah, I'll be at the facility. I'll see you there on Wednesday.
Yes, sir. That's a Dane Moore. Dane Moore podcast at Dane Moore NBA. Once again, Wednesday. Tomorrow, it's a head coach covenant this week. We PJ Fleck, coach of the Gophers, joins us an hour from now. Tomorrow, Kevin O'Connell, per usual, on Tuesdays at 11 o'clock. And then Wednesday, Chris Finch, coach of the Minnesota Timberwolves, joins us from the Wolves practice facility in Minneapolis. And that'll be right out of the gate at 9 o'clock. And we'll discuss this trade and much, much more. And some more thought on the ballyhooed Karl Anthony Towns trade about 35 minutes from now. But when we return, it's Vikes Bites on KFAN.
Vikes Bites.
Vikes Bites, 9 to noon, brought to you by Thousand Hills, lifetime grazed, grass-fed beef. You can go to Thousand Hills, lifetimegrazed.com. You can shop online. A box of meat shows up at your doorstep. Big sponsors, Gopher Athletics, keeping the kids in maroon and gold. So they're good. They're doing all that. You can pick them up at a Coburn's, local co-ops as well. Love Thousand Hills. Loved this play.
2nd and 10 from the Packers 37. Vikes lead by 9. Love back to pass, floats out to the right. He'll go short. Caught. Tucker Kraft at the 40. He dropped it. He dropped it. Minnesota Vikings football, and that took place right in front of Matt LaFleur.
How about that? And that brings me to our buddies at Zone Coverage. They do a bit called Nordo's Numbers, finding some numbers from each Vikings game that are intriguing, that are interesting. Before I get to one of those, as part of that, though, my number would be 7, PA. As in 7 different players have an interception. And in combination with the fumble recovery, the forced fumble by Byron Murphy, the vibe with this was 7. I have 7 different guys creating game-changing plays through 4 games. I have 7 different guys making impacts, and it's in the vein of who's next, who's going to step up, next man up. Yesterday, it was Byron Murphy catching that floater into the end zone because Jordan Love can't stop throwing balls off his back foot, and then he forces that fumble out on Tucker Kraft. 7 different guys making game-changing plays through 4 games. Yesterday, Byron Murphy was that guy. And hey, what's his number? His number 7.
7. It plays into a common thread that we've mashed on during the course of the season, gravy trained from Alec Lewis of The Athletic and TheAthletic.com, because I didn't know this coming into the season. But the Minnesota Vikings are now 21-0 under Kevin O'Connell when they push or win the take-give, the turnover differential. And they were +2 at one point, then they were -1, then the whole thing was tied. But they ended up on the right side of it. 21-0 when you win or push the turnover differential, and that plays into all those interceptions. And it's that they're For some, there are astounding things and a lot of amazement with some things that have transpired during the first 4 games. Yours truly would be part of that covenant. But I said it, shortly after the montage. Seriously, raise your hands, and there'll be nobody raising hands. If after 4 games you predicted Patrick Jones would lead the team in sacks with 5, and Kamu Grugier-Hill would lead the team in interceptions with 2. But like Nordo just said, it's a new guy every single week. Byron Murphy Jr. was a polarizing factor in the game at Lambeau, but he came out on the right end multiple ways yesterday.
Vikes Bites. Thank you, Thousand Hills. And thank you, Zone Coverage, for some numbers here. How about the number 8, as in Sam Darnold hitting 8 different receivers and 8 pass completions early on in that game yesterday? 9 different guys. A total of 8. Brandon Powell, he dropped that one on 3rd and 1. But 8 different pass catchers yesterday. And that's in a similar vein, PA, of JJ's going to get his. He's going to feast. Jordan Addison was back, got his. And Aaron Jones out of the backfield is a revelation in many ways. But Johnny Munt getting in action. Josh Oliver catching his first touchdown of the season. Trent Sherfield had an 8-yard reception in the game. The variety on offense paying dividends for the Purple as well.
Sammy D has a swivel, and you don't go 3rd overall in a draft if you don't have a swivel. All right, 3-2. You can go 8th or 10th overall in a draft like Justin Fields and not have a swivel, but that's not our problem. Darnold scans the field wonderfully. And I said this a lot last week because it's really starting. I'm starting to see a lot of it when pockets get claustrophobic. And it's the way he moves around, but you got to watch what he does with his head. I mean, he's looking around, always trying to throw. And that's going to lead to multiple facets getting opportunities to catch passes, and either like Josh Oliver with that scream. I mean, it's in the drive-by with Josh. He's like, I got an op, and I made the best of it. Because there aren't many opportunities available for Oliver, Sherfield Sr., Munt, Powell, Naylor all of a sudden, and so on. With Addison and Jefferson back and T.J. Hawkinson kicking down the barn and ready to go pretty soon here, I bet you, that is unto Sam Darnold. It's the way the insiders, the coaches and stuff would call. They'd say it's off schedule. Is Darnold is very comfortable off schedule. Particularly in the red zone inside the 20, where the film study by the defensive guys, I mean, they're super smart and well compensated too. So it's quite frequently, from what I understand, the first option inside the 20 and inside the 10 generally is taken away. And that's why you'll see, like in the Texans game, you'll see Darnold start left looking for the 1 option, then the 2, and then swing back to the right and hit the 3rd option for a touchdown. So the sharing of the ball and with all of the targets and receivers from yesterday, pass catchers from yesterday, that a lot of that has to do with Sam Darnold.
Last Vike Bite for you. Yesterday during Fan Line, it was a tough balance. We were up against the clock a little bit, but you wanted to be so excited in a game like yesterday where you stake a 28-point lead, but there was also significant focus on the second half, and you get that you're cruising down. You put Packers on a 3-and-out out of the break.
Right.
You're up 28-7, but then you're driving down. The toss to McKinney. I think it was going to Aaron Jones, but Xavier McKinney lays out. On review, probably shouldn't have been a pick. Not probably. It was not an interception, but they give it to him anyway. Maybe it's because Kevin O'Connell could not be stopped on challenges yesterday. But my point is down the stretch, tale of 2 halves, a focus in some ways more so than some of the great stuff that happened in that game. Whether it was Naylor's muff, it was that throw that McKinney kind of, according to the stats, picked off. And then going for it at the end there, you have a chance to kick a field goal. You go up 12. They don't have timeouts. You got to force 2 TDs versus going for it and trying to end the game. Kevin O'Connell, after the game, talked about trusting his guys, believing in him, and wanting to shut the door in that moment. I'm on KO's end of that, and I trust him to make that decision. But that was a significant talker on both sides of it yesterday. What say you about the decision to go for it on 4th and 1?
Well, when you're beating the least favorite team of Vikings fans, and with 5.5 minutes to go in the first half, you're up 4 touchdowns. You're going to beat them by 50 points. All right. Now, human nature gets to win too. You've heard me say that before, and things have a way of evening themselves out. I mean, that evened itself out farther than I think anybody would concede. Or, I mean, if you got players and or coaches to open veins, you know, there's no way did they think it was going to end up being that close and you know, have like a 2% or the onside kick.
Like you said, the coaches are going to have plenty of things to talk about this week.
That's why it's a perfect victory. You're undefeated, plan to stay that way this weekend, but you can point out a lot of things to the players. Now, just simply because when I say things got sloppy on defense, that's not just an indictment of like the whole thing turned around because of the defense. You know, Bursic is coming up around the corner. He was greatly frustrated at certain points of the second half that they weren't running the ball, and there were incomplete passes that were stopping the clock, and it's difficult to argue with that. But they're you know, Brian O'Neill in the drive-by put it really well, where you know there's also a side of inflicting your will on somebody when you're the one all of a sudden taking the jabs and the uppercuts and the haymakers. And that's what they did when they got down inside the 5, is put your throat on this thing, just end it, and fans can go ahead and leave. And if you're leaving Lambeau Field, please drive safely. That's what I'm convinced they did, and it didn't work. But nevertheless, there were several sloppy facets that transpired nearing the end of the game. But at the end of the equation, I think fans will quickly forget about that and recognize their team might be the best overall team in the National Football League right now. And that's the A topic. That's the overarching topic is I think Seattle can beat Detroit tonight. So, I mean, if Seattle beats Detroit, holy cow, are you in fine fettle in the NFC North through like the first 23% of the season. So, yeah, there are myriad talkers off this game, and we will get into some more of them with Pete Bursic, analyst for the Vikings Radio Network, when we return to KFAN.